Democratic Socialist makes confession, shatters Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's dreams, by Adam Castellino, Politics U.S. News for MadWorldNews.com. A rising star on the left is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The New York liberal is an outspoken Democratic Socialist backed by Soros. Much like failed presidential candidate Bernie Sanders, another shill. But perhaps their dreams for America should be rethought now that a top Democratic Socialist admits this bombshell? Socialism doesn't work. For decades, politicians have tried to implement it throughout the world. Naturally, the system that gives the government total control over private industries always fails. It makes presidents dictators and deprives citizens of basic rights like freedom of speech and freedom of religion. Citizens also become incredibly poor when they're not starving to death. Yet, in the United States, the land of capitalism, there are some liberals who love socialism. In order to make it sound nice, they call their version democratic socialism, which is like saying you're a nice murderer. Democracy doesn't exist in a socialist state. An all-powerful government that controls all the wealth is not interested in what the citizens think. Elections are little more than a sham. We've seen it all over the world. And with the voter fraud that went on with Hillary, we saw what happened here. But luckily, there was divine intervention where Trump got in with all the odds. Still, Bernie Sanders and up-and-coming idiot liberal Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez want socialism for our country. They want the United States government to control health care. They promise citizens things like free college tuition and even universal income. How will they pay for these things? Well, massive taxes, of course. Taxes will get so high, it would be a miracle if anyone held on to their wealth. Despite how terrible this idea is, there are some people who like it. Millennials and anyone who doesn't want to work have warmed to the idea of democratic socialism. Perhaps in the future, the United States will become a socialist state where private wealth and industry become a thing of the past. If that's the case, we better listen to the president of Venezuela, who just admitted his government has failed. Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro admitted on Tuesday that the economic models of his democratic socialist regime have failed. The production models we've tried so far have failed, and the responsibility is ours, mine, and yours, Maduro told his United Socialist Party controlled Congress, AFP reports. Maduro's admission of failure comes amid an inflation rate that reached a stunning 33,151% in July, and predictions by the International Monetary Fund that the country's GDP will shrink by double digits again, this time by a devastating 18%. As AFP explains, Venezuela's economic collapse follows the socialist regime's aggressive nationalization of various key industries and sectors, including cement and steel, supermarket chains, and hundreds of other businesses. Maduro has also imposed price controls in various industries and has even taken the dramatic step of marching the army into the streets to make sure that shops aren't defying price limits, source Daily Wire. Big surprise, that terrible plan failed. Government of any type is pretty bad at managing wealth and business. When a government takes over an entire industry, especially the main industry of a country, all hell will break loose. Venezuela is a perfect example of what will happen to the United States if Ocasio-Cortez dreams come true. Or dream come true. Democratic socialism is a terrible idea. It would destroy our industries, plunging our country into the same poverty seen in Venezuela. idea that the idea that the government should provide basic needs to its people sound great, but socialists never explain how they're going to pay for it. The best they can promise is increasing taxes on the richest 1% of the country. But even these rich people don't have enough cash to cover the massive burden of universal health care and income. Soon enough, regular citizens feel the burden. Imagine how bad things will get if our government took over more than just health care. Socialism just doesn't stop at one industry. Under Obama, the government tried to implement stealth socialism through heavy government regulations across various industries. It led to massive losses in revenue and jobs, but this is where Obama wanted to take the country. If true socialism was implemented, democratic or otherwise, it would only get worse, and that's what Hillary stands for. Do you see? She's a Soros. Soros is backing Hillary. Soros is backing Ocasio-Cortez. So what does that tell you? That Hillary would have taken the last step to destroy America because all the businesses and the people on the highest levels moved out of the country and took their businesses with them where they don't have to be taxed up the wazoo. That's why Trump is trying to bring back businesses, but it's very difficult because the damage has been done, and it is an uphill battle no matter what they're spewing that the economy is doing great. Yeah, in comparison to what it would be, oh yeah, it is, but it isn't there, okay? So, Venezuela's revenues are almost entirely dependent on oil production, which has dropped just 1.5 million barrels a year and less than half the amount produced in 2008. Meanwhile, AFP notes industry is operating at just 30%, and the farming industry is only managing to supply a quarter of national consumption, source Daily Wire. So, is this what Ocasio-Cortez wants for America? Does Bernie Sanders have a plan to make sure we aren't plunged into ruin? Probably not. Well, exactly. Probably not. And this is what they want to push. They want to get into power because they would be considered the, quote, elite, so to speak, okay? And they would have the money, but the little guy would have crap, okay? So vote these creatures in and see what happens to this country. Because Obama did an excellent job of taking it downhill, right? So that's all. Get one of these idiots into office and you see where we're going. Because we ain't going to have a good time of it, believe you me. With Trump in office, we're not going to have a good time of it. Can you imagine these morons get in? And then we'll see what takes place. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.